Look at that thing. We walk past this tree every morning.
Oh my gosh! Oh, they're little tiny pears. Oh,
It's a real live
little pear.
pear tree. Oh, you know what this is?
Earlier. It's a pear tree.
No, look at the top of it. It's a flowering pear that they grafted onto a pear tree bottom. Look at how the bottom is growing pears and the top is growing those little beans. Wow, that is so cool.
This one is not overly ripe.
No.
Do you think these will turn into real edible pears?
Yes,
turn into pears.
that's how they do it. They graft them onto pears.
You can get this one. This one's
It's too tall for. It's too high. You need a ladder.
I got
You
it.
did it.
Look, I have two
Oh,
free
look, she
pears.
did it. She's so tall.
I'll find others, and we'll put them in my pockets. Free fruit at the abandoned mine.
And it appears there's a lot on the ground too, so we could have come weeks ago.
Yeah.
We'll have to find out what kind that. Oh man, that needs to be ripe. Or whoa. Yeah, and then he almost gets electrocuted by a down wire. Look how close this wire is to me. That's where my head is.
After I get my free fruit.
Oh, here's a nice one. How firm are they supposed to be?
Pretty firm.
Oh, these are pretty firm.
Yeah. They should be pretty firm. Because if they're mushy, then they're too mushy
Here,
already.
here,
Like
grab
that's
here,
a
grab that
soggy
one.
mush.
Grab that one.
I got caught in the branch. Oh, that's mushy. Wow, they are either rock hard or they are puree inside a little baggie. Well, this is cool. I mean, we'll see if they ripen. Yeah, baby. All right.
That's so cool that it's an actual pear tree.
We had a pear tree growing up,
Well, we have a pear tree in the backyard.
but not ones that grow pears.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't seem to grow many pears though. They graft a flowering pear tree onto the stump of a regular pear tree.
It's my pear baby.
Pear baby.
So dumpsterinas and frugalistas and frugal cooks, the pears have been ripening for a few days and I've been investigating pear cake recipes online. I didn't really even realize people cooked pear cake before. I never even heard of that. I was first thinking a pear tart, like one of those old-fashioned Renaissance-y looking fancy tarts. But then I thought, no, pear cake. We're going to give these pears a try to see if they're actually edible. Who knows? Ooh, it cuts nicely. It's not overly hard now, which is good. So I'm just going to give it a little taste to see if it's okay to go ahead and bake with. Yes, it's a real pear and it tastes good and it's sweet. It's sweet, it's a little sour, which I like, because I like my fruit to be a little tart. So, okay, here we go with the recipe. It's pear, blueberry, pecan, I think I just spit a piece of pear, coffee cake with cinnamon and deliciousness. And now the recipe calls for 3 pears, and the problem with that is, how big a pear are you talking about recipe? These are really tiny little pears that came off that tree. So I don't know, like, what's the volume of chopped up pears supposed to be for 3 pears? I don't know. So I'm just going to cut a few up, and what looks like a reasonable amount of chopped up pear, that's going to be what goes into this incredible cake, which also will have, let's see, dumpster eggs, dumpster pecans, dumpster butter, dumpster flour, dumpster blueberries, dumpster brown sugar, fake vanilla extract I paid for at Walmart. Let's get cooking. Anyway, here we go with the ingredients. 1 1/4 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, and another teaspoon of cinnamon. 1/2 cup of butter. We've got 1 1/2 cups of brown sugar. The recipe calls for white sugar, but I'm going to use all brown sugar. 3 eggs, which you're supposed to add 1 at a time. I didn't read that part of the recipe until after I'd beaten them together, so we'll just pour a little bit in at a time. 1/3 cup of milk. We're going to use a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm using the cheaper imitation vanilla. half a cup of chopped pecans. The recipe calls for almonds, but I have switched to pecans. It also called for almond extract, not vanilla, and I hate almond extract. I think it's gross, and that is why I switched to vanilla and pecans instead of almond extract and almonds. Half a cup of blueberries. Mine were frozen, and they're thawing slowly. There are my chopped chunks of pear. I can't even believe how good these taste. I'm really shocked, actually. We have got 1½ tablespoons of white sugar, 1½ tablespoons of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. We have the oven preheating to 350, and we're using a springform pan. I think it called for a 9-inch, and this is a 10-inch, and I have it sprayed with some cooking oil. There you go. All right, we're going to start by beating the 1¼ cups of sugar into the ½ cup of butter. Best part about cake is using the mixer. Then we beat in the eggs one at a time. Now we're going to alternate between putting in the milk and the flour mixture. And the flour is basically the flour with the 1 teaspoon of baking powder and the 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So we'll just sift in a little bit at a time, alternating with the milk and the blending and the so forth. So there we go with some flour and the baking powder and the cinnamon, and there we go. All right, then we're going to stir in our ½ cup of blueberries and our indeterminate amount of chunks of wild free pear and our chopped pecans. Gently fold. And then we're going to bake this amazing concoction in our 9-inch springform pan, except I'm using 10-inch because it seems to be what I have, but the recipe says 9-inch. You're supposed to bake at 350 for about 40 minutes. Or until a toothpick comes out clean. We pour the batter into our prepared springform pan. We'll sprinkle the sugar cinnamon combo on top. In my whole life, I've never really done any baking with pears. I'm pretty excited about this. It's like a whole new world has opened up to me. A whole new had to really scrape the bowl. I can't stand when people don't scrape the bowl. And you just think to yourself, I know it's Food Network. I know you're trying to look all professional and not be wasting time scraping the bowls, and some assistant's going to come wash all those dishes for you, but damn, you're wasting that little bit of extra batter. That could have been 3 more bites of cake. I think this is just going to be such a lovely coffee cake. I think if you frosted it, it would be just purely dessert cake. I don't feel like I need to put all this on because, yeah, it's already all covered. So I might save this little bit of cinnamon sugar for cinnamon toast because I feel like the cake is adequately covered. I'm going to push it down into the batter. All right, dumpsterinos, we're getting this right into the 350-degree oven, and you shall see it again momentarily. All right, there's the cake. I just pulled it out of the oven after about 40 minutes. It's rather brown from the cinnamon. It's very light and poofy. Ow, and hot. Alrighty, the cake has fully cooled, and it has sunk in the middle where it was once light and fluffy. And we're gonna pop it out of the springform pan now. Pop. Oh yeah, baby. Then, please don't stick to the bottom. You're very moist. I can tell you want to stick, but you must not stick and disappoint the frugalistas. It's a delicate cake. I hope I cooked it enough. Come on. Ah! Okay. It's very much imploded there in the middle. I don't know what that means. Let's scrape off this part and just patch it there a little bit. It's so pretty. One of the comments made by one of the users on this recipe online was, because it's in a springform pan, it comes out to be such a pretty cake. I think next time I'm just going to put it in a brownie pan. Maybe I didn't bake it long enough. I feel like it's pretty moist there in the middle, but let's see. Well, a small plate would probably help, but ooh, it is dense and moist and maybe a little bit too mushy in the middle. The center part may not be cooked enough, the implosion area, the sinkhole, as it were. But this outer part, I think, is going to be lovely, so... So cook yours longer. All right, here's Daddy's multi-hunk of blueberry pear coffee cake. Falling apart, but yum. Who cares what it looks like? Here, you can feed yourself probably. You are a big boy? Or do you want me to feed you? I love feeding people. You're a small boy. Yum.
It's really good. It's got an amazing taste.
Well, I took some of the section from the very center of the cake that didn't really bake enough, and I put it on foil in the toaster oven, and then just kind of burned it into this crunchy
Oh,
bit.
it's good.
If I made this cake again, which I think I would do, I would first obviously bake it longer because it didn't bake in the center too well. And I, instead of putting just the cinnamon sugar sprinkled over it at the end, I would sprinkle finely chopped pecans over that, bake it that way, and then just make a syrup out of the sugar and the cinnamon and maybe like a little vanilla or maybe a little apple cider, and then just kind of pour the cinnamony syrup over the pecans that are baked into. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Now, you have told me that you're not a huge fan of pears. Like, I never see you just eating pears. Would you like to?
Pear cake?
Pear? Have I mentioned it's pears? Pears, blueberries, pecans, cinnamon, yum! Free pears that we picked together. You were there.
This is amazing. I did not know.
Would you think of having it with a little butter on it so it seems more like a breakfast kind of coffee cake? Or frosting on it?
Coffee cake.
Why didn't I think
That's
to call
the
it a
word I was
coffee
looking
cake?
for.
So there you go, Dumpsterinos. Super frugal, delicious coffee cake because the pears were free. None of the ingredients are particularly expensive. Awesome. I think it's a great recipe to have in your little memory banks for when you have pears that are maybe getting overly ripe or have gotten a little bit dented because you know how delicate the pear is. These were so very flavorful just eating as pears. I mean, just like old-fashioned, olden days pears. Because, you know, sometimes pears have no flavor at all. But these did. Thumbs up for the pear cake. I hope you all enjoyed the video. We will see you again soon. Try this recipe. Bake it longer than I did. Tweak it however you want. Thanks for watching. Bye. We should make coffee cake more often, don't you think?
You can make this every day.
Say thanks for watching.